feet up. And the back is supposed to go up and down. It goes up and down, side by side. Yeah, so everything goes. Yeah, exactly. So that's what actually the reason I kind of got going on it was, well, you need to teach yourself to do. When people really suck at this, I make them turn their chest one way, turn their chest the other way, and feel like go with their hips. Okay. And then eventually I solidify their rib cages up, and then just have their hips do it. So the reason I want you to do it is I want you to feel your shoulders aren't your hips. Because you're kind of shoulder hipping it around, right? Like especially in the posting trot. So really from your ribs up, just perfect. Just a good ride that we've been working on, that vertical strength, stability, all of that, elevated core, blah, blah, blah. And then your seat makes the shape that his back is making. Yeah, so you can't have tight knees, right? Because then his barrel can't swing out.
No, I feel like no swing. I'm like trying to make swing.
Yeah, so then you can keep saying you're trying to help your hips with your shoulders. Relax your neck to vertical, look on your head, and hold your shoulders broad across the front. That measurement, we talked about that before. Yeah, and then feel. Let's just start with the feel of either your knee or your seat bone, sinking and rising with the seat bone, dropping and pressing forward with the knee. Because the femur is the same bone attaching into the knee and into the seat, right? Right. So you want to feel that femur bone elongate and shorten. I keep using the word shorten, but get more horizontal. Stretch vertical, get a little more horizontal, change angles. I can't get my time. That's my point right now. So now hold your torso still. Yeah, exactly. Now feel that. Emphasize your knee right now as you rise. So you feel how vertical, it's the opposite of that. Like, what is this? Like vertical, so you go vertical and then let's just use the word seven. Okay. Right? So seven is that one, right? So vertical seven. Yeah, like that. You feel that? Good. Now feel your iron now. Yep. Now they should be heavy, light, right? If you don't feel your iron weight dramatically, good significant change, your knee is big. Right, so I want you to do the transfer of energy between your iron and your feet. That's it. Now vertical saddle for your femur. Feel your femur bone change. Yeah, that's it. Don't just feel your knee pinch and then your seat change. Does that make sense? Well, it feels like I feel like wider my knee. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Because women our legs coming at an angle, right? So you have to it's hard to relax our knees because of the way we're built.
Okay, that makes sense.
There you go. Good. That's it. Feel your knee change. That's right. Now, when you sit in the saddle, because you're going to go to the sitting now, you don't sit with your knee in. You sit over the vertical feet. That's it. And then he pushes up on your seat on one side at a time. That's right. So you have to feel the transfer of weight between your iron and your seat, which is small relative to the posting trot, because you don't actually leave the saddle, right? So don't lean too far back or your seat won't move. Perfect. You feel that? More motion? Let your seat move. That's right. When your seat is bumped up, on the one side, your knee drapes down. So you go vertical femur. And then settle femur. When your butt settles into the tack, your femur settles. And then you go vertical femur. And of course, it's about like 4 times faster. I know. Yeah, don't do everyone. Just do whatever you can get. Because you just have to unlock the muscle pattern and get onto the bone pattern. Once you're onto the bone, he will do it for you. I'm just telling you what's supposed to be happening, right? That you're not letting happen, essentially, because of your inner thigh tension. Yeah, so if you can start to let the pattern happen, it's really his job to do it. Yeah. And you can stretch into this thing. The other leg for a minute. inner thigh area. So now relax that knee off. Yeah, I mean, it's not a seatbelt. That's step one. Yeah. Step two is that bone. If that does not move, your pelvis doesn't move. Because that is part of your pelvis, right? It's the ball and socket joint. So that's the two mobile parts of the pelvis. So the ball and socket joint and the low back, right? The SI joint's not technically like a mobile joint. Right. Yeah. And so you have, those are the two parts that are going to allow the movement of the horse through. You're doing the low back part, right? This rounding, that's working. What you're not doing is the ball and socket joint part, which is allowing the up and down. And then I think there's probably a little low rotation of your low back that we're not doing quite yet. So that's to feel your femur. Yes, that was movement.
I feel it better now.
Yeah.
That's a different direction.
Right, sure. But that's normal. We usually have one more leg and jump. Right, good. Relax your leg. Yeah, that's it. Let that iron weight change. Good. And then feel sloppy. I fight this so often. People are like, I'm so sloppy. And I'm like, but the horse wants to move. Like, don't be still and rigid on a moving object. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, sloppiness gets absorbed into motion. And it looks like, you're hovering beautifully on a horse when you think you're sloppy. Right? Everybody always gets that wrong. Yeah. Listen, look at how much you move in the posting trot. Right? How come you think you should sit still in the sitting trot, right? I mean, not that you do, but like at the subconscious level, it doesn't make sense. You should be moving that much. If that's what it takes to let it back. Yeah, good boy. You always do the lunge thing with me here, buddy. Good, that's it. Relax your knees down. Yeah, that's it. Now look to feel that your left knee and your right knee go opposite to one another. That's what I'm really looking for in this whole thing. Is I want you to feel, keep your shoulders steady, with wiggles. You just like that part. Yeah, that's exaggerated, but it's like that should be happening to your knees. Right. Yeah. Let your knees drop. One by one.
The weight in the iron makes more sense to me.
You feel it changing?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Keep your belly pressed forward, your chest pressed forward, looking back. Yeah. That's it. Feel the iron. One by one. That's right. Yeah. So if the iron has more weight, the hip is forward.
Okay, that's cool because of doing that it feels like I'm like running.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. So it's very much like I don't know. Some people use the phrase backward bicycle pedaling, or something. Like you feel like these elongating, stretching of your hamstring while your hip goes forward thing. It's so funny to try to do this stuff without a horse.
Yeah.
That's a horse. This looks awesome. Anyway, it definitely has this like stretching motion, pelvic rotation thing to it. And all the while, this is set on top of that motion, which is what is so hard. Is from it's like the belly button up is your separation. Like belly button up is like don't move, stay stable, be still. You just do a little rotating, but no collapsing, no wiggling. And then from the belly button down, you're like we're going, we're in action because that part's connected to the back. And if we're gonna have back movers, we have to allow motion to that. And so it's like stability on motion. It makes perfect sense when you look at it. From a horse balance perspective, this is touching them, right? So all this area has that motion. This is stabilizing them. This is, if you consider a horse a rider, the only part in the air is your butt up. So your center of gravity as a rider is not in your pelvis like it is as a person. It's up in your chest because your legs don't count because the only part of you that's balancing is seatbelt up. Your center of gravity lives up here as a rider. So you have this beautiful vertical line with a high center of gravity pulling and pushing and negatively positively impacting a horse's horizontal line, which is why that stability matters so much. You can't be doing this and not having their center of gravity react a lot because of how high up off of them our center of gravity is, right? So it's a very fascinating, I love the whole balance of it.
Yeah, that was cool.
It really is
amazing.
amazing. What's that?
I stopped because I didn't want to screw it up.
Yeah, that's right. Well, he just go right in there.
Yeah, that makes total sense. When I started dressage, I used to ride with your toes out like this.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the big thing. You roll your side under, get your toes straight to the. So
Yeah.
that's almost clamps me too, because I'm pretty narrow in my head.
You rotate it, yeah.
So now I'm like super tight here.
Right.
Because of that, so I always have to like breathe, but more of the knee than the toe, obviously.
Yeah, your foot, everything below your knee is fine with the exception of their shock absorbers that aren't doing much.
Yeah.
Like you could use them to your advantage more.
And I feel it when I do, like, you know, when I actually have the weight in my iron.
Yeah, that would feel hot, it's changed, right? But generally your energy tends to stop here.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if I took a snapshot of your lower leg, I'd be like, perfect. Right? But it doesn't tell the story of motion traveling through it, right? It's the energy is stopping here.
Sure.
And you're deceptive in that you're not clamping.
Right.
You're just not softening.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you were more clamping before, where I kind of come through that a lot. But so you have like, the only way I know that I don't like your femur bone is the motion of your femur and your pelvis does not match the motion of the back.
Yeah.
And so then also I have this strange ripple effect coming through higher, which tells me something is not moving where the motion is, right? Because why is this doing weirdo if the motion should, you have several joints before that energy gets to a part of you that's not even touching, right? So if this is moving, then somewhere your joints are not moving